Right, we are started, and then let me share my screen and my presentation with you here. All right, can I get a thumbs up if you can see my screen? Wonderful, thank you so much. All right, so like I mentioned today, we are going to be talking about the WIC Dietetic Internship Program. My name is Lisa Clark, and I'm the Dietetic Internship Coordinator that runs the day-to-day processes of this program. On this call with me, I also have Diana Kinsfather. She's my boss. And she also used to be the program director for this program as well and has valuable insights. And then we also have Cassandra Molyneux. She is our assistant dietetic internship coordinator as well. So we have a dedicated team to supporting this program and making sure that interns are getting through this program and getting to the registered dietitian nutritionist credential. This program is housed within the Maricopa County Department of Public Health. Here you can see, I think you can see my mouse, but you can see this is our most recent cohort. We just graduated a cohort of 7 individuals, some of whom have already passed their RD exams and are continuing their work as registered dietitians. So it's really an exciting pathway and a unique way to get to the RD credential with some unique benefits compared to other programs that we're going to talk about here shortly. So today, the purpose of this presentation is just to talk about the program. So we're going to cover a little bit of everything. We're going to talk about program overview and what this program actually is, the different eligibility requirements for this program, what the application process looks like, and then of course, leave time for any questions at the end. So let's start by just talking about what this program is. So like I said, we're housed within the Maricopa County Department of Public Health, and we are a public health focused program that provides the supervised practice hours that are required to become a registered dietitian nutritionist. So to sit for the RDN exam, you have to have 1,000 hours of supervised practice, and that's what this program provides. We are public health focused. That doesn't mean that all of the rotations are focused purely on public health. Interns still complete rotations in clinical areas, in food and nutrition management settings and specialty areas. However, we do have an emphasis on public health with some unique rotations that are geared more towards looking at work as an RDN through that public health lens. We have a WIC track that specifically accepts up to 6 interns per year who work for Arizona WIC local agencies. And then the wonderful part about this program is not only do we accept interns who are employees from WIC local agencies, but there's also job security for our graduates once they complete the program. And so graduates are then contracted to work for Arizona WIC for 2 years after passing the RD exam. So I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the benefits of this program because this is, as far as I'm aware, the only program in the US that actually has something like this. It is a lower cost path to the RD credential. Getting to that credential is challenging. There's a lot of education, supervised practice, dollar sign, dollar sign, dollar sign to actually get to that credential. And specifically for the WIC dietetic internship, there is no tuition. Not only is there no tuition, but the program will pay for all attempts on the RD exam. So hopefully we hope that our graduates are able to pass on their first attempt, but it's a kind of nasty exam. And if our graduates don't pass on the first attempt, we will continue to pay until that person passes the RDN exam, which is $225 a pop. The program also provides all study materials for the exam as well. So what we're hoping is that between no tuition, covering the cost of the RD exam, and then paying for the study materials, that this is a lower cost path to getting to that credential. One of the other unique aspects of this program is, on top of it being no tuition required, those who are enrolled in this program do continue to receive compensation and benefits through the entirety of the internship. So you continue to receive your pay and benefits throughout because it's just not feasible to always just stop the work that you're doing, take a pause, complete the supervised practice program to get to that RD credential. And that is not what is required as part of this program. Something we're going to talk about a little bit more in depth in the coming slides is this flexibility with graduate degree options. I'm actually going to just shush about that for right now, and I'll cover it on the next slide here in a moment. But this program does have flexibility with graduate degree options. Another key aspect of this program is that the rotations are tailored to interests of our interns and scheduled by the program. So if you're familiar with any other pathways to get to that RD credential, some programs do require interns to find their own rotation sites and find their own preceptors, and that is not the case with this program. You're looking at the person who schedules all of the rotations, and we do send a survey out to our interns upon acceptance into the program to gauge what they are most interested in seeing. We have a ton of different practice sites that interns can rotate at. And while everybody still completes like clinical rotations, they complete school district rotations and some of the other public health rotations. There are some other specialty rotations like food policy, some like outpatient clinical experiences in oncology, things that we want to get a good feel for if somebody's really interested in, because we will schedule them into those rotations as well. And then, of course, supportive environment with dedicated staff. I introduced the three of us who are part of this program and who support this program. We don't teach classes on the side. We are not part of a university. We are dedicated in our time to work for this program and support the interns that are enrolled in our program. All right, so that touches on a little bit of what the program is. Now we're going to talk about eligibility requirements, and this is where that graduate degree is going to be talked about a little bit more in depth. I think if you've heard any of this information in the past, there have been a lot of changes in different pathways to becoming a registered dietitian, and my hope is that after we go through these next couple of slides, whatever information you've heard in the past feels clarified and simplified, because there are multiple pathways to get to the RD credential. And my hope is that this just simplifies the process and makes it really, really clear. So if you've heard information from our program in the past about what the eligibility requirements are to apply to this program, I want you to just let it go, and we're going to cover it and just start from scratch and start fresh and new. So the eligibility requirements for this program, there are really only three. So you do need to have a signed verification of completion of a didactic program in dietetics, which is a DPD. So that is that specific undergraduate nutrition degree that does make you eligible for this program, DPD. You do need to have worked for at least 6 months of full-time employment at an Arizona WIC agency prior to the application due date of January 15th. And then you need to still be currently employed at an Arizona WIC local agency. That's it. There is no graduate degree required to apply to this program anymore. So if you've heard that in the past, again, letting that one go, we'll talk a little bit about what that means moving forward, but that is no longer required to apply. So as long as you have a DPD verification statement, you've worked for Arizona WIC for at least 6 months prior to the application due date, and you are still currently employed at Arizona WIC, which you all are, which is why you're on this call, you are eligible to apply for this program. So let's talk a little bit about graduate degree requirements, because I think this is where things got a little bit muddy in recent years. So as of January 1st of this year, it is now a requirement to sit for the RDN exam that you must have a master's degree. What this means is that while we don't have it as an eligibility requirement for our program, once our program is finished and you want to sit for that RDN exam, you do have to have a completed master's degree. So the way that we're accomplishing this is really by offering flexibility and multiple options to do this. So if interns are applying to our program, or applicants are applying to our program and already have a master's degree, awesome. That's probably the most streamlined approach to this. And you can complete the internship in 8 months. Starts in September and it ends in April. You have the master's degree already. At that point in April, you would be eligible to sit for the RD exam. However, we are now accepting interns who have not started and do not have a graduate degree as well. And what this means is we now have two potential options for individuals who are applying to our program who do not have a master's degree already, where they can complete the internship simultaneously with an online nutrition graduate degree in as little as 15 months. So this would start in the beginning of a summer semester, go through summer, fall, spring, and then end in the following summer. And so the internship, while it's going at the same time as this master's degree, it would take about 15 months for completion. Of course, this is still very individualized, and we still accept applicants who are in the middle of completing a master's degree as well. We just highly encourage you to reach out to us if you have questions about where you are in the master's degree process, because What we found is it works best if we can kind of meet one-on-one and just talk about what your specific situation is, and where that would put you as far as what cohort you would be in if you are in the middle of getting a master's degree already. So for individuals who are applying to our program and at the time of their application have not started a master's degree, at that point you will be required to pick one of these two options. So there is the Professional Science Master's in Applied Nutrition from University of Arizona and the Online Master of Science in Nutritional Science and Dietetics from ASU. Both of these are online options. And the reason why these are the only two options if you are applying, or these are the only two options at the point of you applying to the program if you've not already started a master's degree, is because we have to make sure from our accrediting body's standpoint that you can complete the graduate degree within a certain time frame of after completing the internship. What the accrediting body doesn't want is for individuals to complete their supervised practice and then take another year or two to finish a master's degree. It needs to happen pretty quickly afterwards. So these are the two options. These are separate from the dietetic internship program. So there is a separate tuition cost for these master's degree options. I would highly, highly, highly encourage you, if you are looking at exploring graduate degree options, to look at what your tuition reimbursement looks like for the agency and your employer and where you work, because we've had several past grads who have utilized tuition reimbursement from their employer and paid a lot less for their master's degrees. But you can check out those programs here by either clicking the QR codes or scanning them on your phone. And that's it. That was it for eligibility requirements. Again, the only three things that you have to have at the point of applying for this program is a DPD verification statement, to have worked for Arizona WIC for at least 6 months prior to that application due date, and that you're currently working for WIC. If you don't have a graduate degree, if you have a graduate degree, or you're somewhere in the middle of getting a graduate degree, we have options and can accept your application. So hopefully that clarifies a little bit. So let's talk a little bit about the application process itself and what we're looking for when that application comes through to us. So if you're familiar with the process for applying for supervised practice programs, you might have heard the term DICAS, which is a centralized system for applications. And the good news is we don't use it. It's super straightforward. The only thing that you have to do is, once you've compiled everything that you want for your application, if you meet the eligibility criteria, we accept applications by email annually beginning October 1st up until January 15th at midnight. Applications just get submitted directly by email to me, and my contact information is here. One of the reasons we've chosen to avoid DICAS, if you are familiar with it, is again trying to make this a lower cost pathway to that RD credential, because DICAS has its own fees and application fees. There's no application fee that goes to Maricopa County when you submit an application. And then, of course, because we're avoiding DICAS and having you send applications directly to me, another fee is avoided. Here you can see the application timeline, and this comes directly from our website. So starting October 1st, we will start accepting applications. We will accept applications all the way through to January 15th. We review applications in January and February and conduct interviews in February. And then we will let all applicants notify, or we will notify all applicants by March 1st, whether they've been accepted, waitlisted, or rejected from the program. It is highly likely that you would hear from us before March 1st, whether or not you've been accepted, waitlisted, or rejected, but that is the absolute latest that you would hear. And of course, we need to know back from you all whether you've accepted or not by March 15th. So what actually goes into the application? What has to be sent through email? So again, in an effort to make this as low cost as possible, we do need some unofficial transcripts from you, but you don't need to pay for any official transcripts to be sent our way. You can go onto your college's portal and download unofficial transcripts. We just need to see the unofficial undergraduate transcripts for where you completed that DPD program, that undergraduate nutrition degree. And then any unofficial transcripts that you might have for a master's degree or master's degree coursework that you've completed. Again, a master's degree is not required to apply. So you are not necessarily going to be given priority status or something like that because you have a graduate degree or because you've started graduate degree coursework. But if you have it, we do want to see it. You'll also send me the name and the email address of whoever is going to be completing a recommendation for you from your WIC agency's management or leadership team. This is an important one, and we're going to go back to this on a later slide. This one is one of our criteria and one of our eligibility requirements for this program is we do need to see that signed verification of completion that you have completed a DPD program, a copy of your current resume, a declaration of intent, which we're going to cover here in another slide, and then a personal statement as well. Let's start with the personal statement because this one's a fun one. And really the only thing that I want to mention on this slide, because all of this information is on our website, is that, again, if you have a master's degree or you have started a master's degree, please give us some indication of where you are in the process of it. If you haven't started it, it's fine. It's not a problem. It's just simply state that you don't have it. The personal statement we really like, and that's one part of the application that we really put a lot of weight-ish on, just because it tells us a little bit about you. It tells us why you're passionate about this area, why you like working for WIC, why WIC has prepared you and gotten you on the pathway to wanting to become an RD. So this is really your chance to shine and show us a little bit of yourself outside of just all of the paperwork that's required. All right, let's talk a little bit about that recommendation. So the recommendation requirement, again, is simply you sending me, along with your application, a name and an email address of the leadership team member who is going to be completing your recommendation. This is done in lieu of any letters of recommendation, and that person who I get the contact information for will receive a form that they fill out, essentially recommending you for the position as a dietetic intern. This is really important because if you remember back to earlier in this presentation, at the end of this program, you are contracted to work for Arizona WIC for 2 years once you pass the RD exam. You will go back to the clinic that you came from. And so essentially what this recommendation is saying is that your leadership wants you to come back and work for them as an RDN. So my recommendation would be that if you are even remotely interested in pursuing this pathway, or you're exploring what it would be to be, or what it would look like to become a registered dietitian, start having that conversation with your leadership team now if you haven't already, because you have to have support from your agency in order to get into this program. The declaration of intent is just a formal letter stating that you are applying to this program and that you intend to apply to the track, that you understand what goes into this. And if you're interested in reading what that looks like, it is on our website. You can click the QR code here or even scan it on your phone just to read through that. But that does have to be submitted along with your application. And that's really it. This is kind of the quick version of everything, but you can find all of the information that I talked about and probably much more at our website at rdntobe.com. You can find out a little bit more about those specific graduate degree options here. You can find out more information about the program schedule itself and what those rotation sites are. But essentially what this presentation was is hopefully just an opportunity to clarify, I think in my mind, especially what those eligibility criteria are, and also talk a little bit about graduate degree program options. So again, when we think about eligibility requirements, there's only 3 things. You have to have a DPD verification statement. You have to have worked for Arizona WIC for at least 6 months prior to that application due date of January 15th. And then you have to be working for Arizona WIC. And that is it. If you do not already have a master's degree at the time of application, you will have to pick one of those 2 options that were previously or on a previous slide as well. But the good news is there is flexibility. And so at this point, we want to hear from you. This was kind of our introduction, get our foot in the door to talk to all of you and share this information. But we are really, really happy to meet one-on-one with you and talk about your individual situation, whether you have a DPD verification statement or not, whether you have a master's degree or not. We are happy to set up one-on-one time to talk through what this program could look like for you. And my contact info is here on the slide. And then, of course, we've got Diana and Cassandra, too, supporting this program as well. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing and open it up for any questions that you all might have.
I have a question. Hello. Hello. My question is about, because my situation is a little different. So because I have my degree in nutrition science, but it's from Mexico. So I just want to be sure if you try to start the internship with you with the program, is I need be ready with the master, enroll with the master, or no? Because in my situation is different. So because I spoke a couple of years ago, like last year, about how I can revalidate my degree here in United States, and my best option is to start with the master, so the master can help me to get that. But in this situation, my question, if I need be enrolled right now before I start with the program, with the internship, with the master, or it's not necessary in my situation?
The master's degree might not be necessary in your situation, but what is necessary is that DPD verification statement.
Mm-hmm.
So, what I would suggest doing is reaching out, probably in your case, to Maria Plant at U of A. She's their DPD director, and she can look at your coursework and what you've completed and tell you whether or not or what you would still need to complete in order to get that DPD verification
Okay, so
statement.
DPP verification.
And I do know that they have some master's degree courses that count towards DPD, but that also
Mm-hmm.
count towards their master's degree. So it might be a way of feeding two birds with one stone, and maybe accomplishing both. But I would suggest reaching out to her. And then there
Mm-hmm.
is also, she also might ask you to have your degree evaluated by one of the, I'm not looking, it's not accredited. It's one of the agencies that evaluates international degrees.
Mm-hmm.
And there are specific ones that the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics recognizes. So I can
Mm-hmm.
include a link to all of that in my follow-up email when I send the
Okay.
recording. And also, I have a little handout for you all, just a quick
I
reference
appreciate
sheet.
it.
So I can include all of that in there as well. But I would say she's a good starting point.
No, okay, thank you, appreciate it.
Yeah. It's hard because there's always such individualized circumstances of, well, but here's my specific situation, which
Yeah,
is
like
why
it's
we
different,
wanted
so
to,
I don't know.
and
Kind
that's
of
why we wanted
okay.
to get connected with you all, because
Mm.
everybody's situation is a little bit different. We want to be as supportive as possible throughout the entire process. So,
Oh, thank you. Okay, thank you so much. I appreciate
of
it.
course. What other questions?
I have a question.
Yes, go ahead.
So you said if we apply to your program without the master's degree, um, when would we have to apply to the master's degree, or like when would we have to complete it?
That's an
By?
excellent question. So we've worked closely with both the ASU program and then also with U of A's program to establish a timeline of what this looks like, because we don't want people wasting money applying to a master's degree program if they don't get into our program. So the first step is applying to our program, indicating that you don't have a master's degree. And then once you've been accepted into our program, then you would apply to U of A or ASU's online program. It's a pretty short turnaround. The timeline is pretty aggressive because if the applications are due in January, you know by March whether you've been accepted or not. You would be starting summer classes that summer. So you would start them at the summer before the internship starts. The internship starts in September. So you would be completing graduate degree coursework at the same time as your supervised practice rotations through approximately April. And then you would finish the internship and supervised practice would be done. And then you would finish out the last summer semester of the master's degree and then be done and eligible to sit for the exam.
Okay.
Does that
What
answer
if,
your question?
yes, but what if you don't get accepted to the master's program?
We have not had that happen yet. This is all new to us, and we will roll with it. They do have, I think, specific GPA requirements for applying to that master's program, but this is something where if you have some concerns about that, let's talk one-on-one about it and we can review together.
Okay.
What else?
So my situation, I already got accepted to the ASU program. What in
Congratulations.
case, thank you. In case I apply to the internship and then I'm either waitlist or decline and I apply towards the next year, what would happen? Like, can I still get options on like applying to other internships on DACA?
So just to clarify, you've been accepted into ASU's MSDI program for their next cohort.
This fall.
So this fall, so you'd be starting the master's degree, and then the following year is when you do the supervised practice. Is that correct?
I did the one that you put on the. So I only did the online program without the
Without the
hours
internship.
of internship.
then that's already done. That's one step that's already accomplished. So we would consider you in the process of starting a master's degree or in the process of working on one. And we're happy to work with you on that if you've already applied to their program.
And then how
Lisa, I think were you trying to are you still eligible to apply for other dietetic internships if you don't get into this dietetic internship?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like in
So
case.
that's why we have the timeline set as we have the timeline that you are able to also apply to other programs. Most other programs do use DICAS. So you could apply to other programs using DICAS. And then again, that's why we have following the same timeline as DICAS and other programs, because other programs will no longer utilize the match system. That's why those dates were in there as they are, with the date that we're going to alert you if you were accepted, rejected, or waitlisted, and the date and provide the intern with your acceptance or rejection. So yes, you can apply to other programs as well. And again, the kind of that decision is very much up to the student learner now without the match process in place. So you can apply to other programs using DICAS and following their own application system, as well as apply to the WIC track dietetic internship program here.
Perfect.
Thanks, Diana.
Mm-hmm.
I have other question.
Yeah, go right ahead.
About when you say about we need to make a rotations, the rotation is in your own city, or you need to visit other cities to make a rotation. How works with that?
That's a really good question because I think you all are located in Tucson, correct?
Yes, correct.
Okay. So the internship is technically based out of Phoenix. So there are rotations that we are going to have in Phoenix. But for the longer rotations, like clinical in a hospital and school district rotations, we do have affiliate sites in Tucson that we can send you to. But there will be some driving. There will be some time that you will need to spend some overnight time in Phoenix throughout parts of the program.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I ask you that because like, okay, if you need to visit there, it's like where do you live? Like think about everything because I have a one kid. It's like okay, so how it works? Just to be sure. Okay, thank you.
I have a question too before, sorry.
Yeah, go right ahead.
How would you said it's paid internship, how would that work? Would we still be paid through our own company?
Yeah, so you would be still paid through your employer. So El Rio would continue to pay you your salary and your benefits. There might be some minor changes and nuances with that are kind of agency specific, whether you continue to retain your like full-time employee status or if you're moved to a contractor status. So that would be a conversation that I would have with your leadership team. But yes, you continue to retain your employment with your employer. They continue to pay your pay and benefits. And then they receive funding from ADHS to backfill while you're in the internship.
Oh, okay.
Lisa, I'm happy to stay on and keep answering questions. I know you have another lunch and learn. So if you want to stop recording and hop off, I'm happy to continue answering questions.
Thanks, Diana. I appreciate that.